Alrighty, so okay, hi guys, welcome back to Little T Play Stationeers. This is episode 7 of this series on the moon. And this is kind of finishing touches. So what we got to look at in this episode are things like making sure that our plants have CO2 in our atmosphere. We're going to try to maintain that at about 1%. So we are going to need an extra tank, which I think now we're going to have to either put near the window here or outside, right? Because our plants here are beginning to wilt, right? Now, you'll take note, right, that somewhere in the last episode, I emptied out my waste tank. And if I had been thinking ahead, I could have used that to put some CO2 into the atmosphere here, right? Yeah, it's kind of a boo-boo that I made there. Because now, if we can't get these plants to grow, then we are gonna die, right? Something I did off screen was harvest these ferns, because I don't think we need them so much anymore. Let's eat our food here and hope that we don't die, right? So I'm gonna take the risk here of eating all my food, and I think by now our furnace there should be finished emptying of gases. So yeah, what I kind of mean by finishing touches here is adding that CO2 tank, just to capture and filter in some of that stuff. And what we're gonna have to do to maintain those levels, right, is put in after this gas mixer, which pumps in 71 or 79% nitrogen and 21% oxygen. We're going to put in here a gas mixer that feeds in from this gas mix, and a CO2 tank, which will be set at 99% to come from this, and 1% to come from our CO2 storage, right? So in order to keep everything kind of cool, and how it should be, I don't know whether to put it before or after here. It's probably better to put it here. So let's go ahead and make our atmospheric kit here. We need copper and gold, which I believe we've put in here to make some cables, and as always, Little T was not thinking ahead, and didn't do the mining off screen. So I am going to go ahead and pause the recording and do that mining right now. Okay, so we grabbed the gold there. I used the gas furnace again to do the smelting. So let's print out our atmospherics kit, which we're going to be using to filter our CO2. Let's grab a couple of CO2 filters here, one for the atmospherics kit and another one for me, right? Because that's starting to become an urgent thing, right? I'll tell you what, let's just do another one so that we don't have to do it later, right? So okay, what we're going to need here too is probably a few pipes. We have I wonder actually, you know, if 7 might even be enough. Let's just do a few more here, just to make sure. Yep. And okay. Yep. All right. I think that's gonna be okay. We're also gonna need some cables here in a minute, to connect the power up on this filtration unit. Okay. So let's quickly connect up the let's quickly connect up our input here. Okay, that's our input. Now where this output is going to go to, I hadn't really given that a lot of thought, if I'm honest. So let's have it come out to probably extend actually this this frame here, and have it. You know what? We might be able to make use of the fact that we've built up here. So where are we going to put it? Let's put it here, right? Let's put it here, and we're going to have T-junction, because we know that this gas is going to go up and meet up with these nitrogen and oxygen pipes, right? So, okay. Let's just keep going here. We're going to need to move this pipe here, because otherwise, what is going to happen is the way we set it up, it's going to bypass this this carbon dioxide filter, right? So let's just okay, because now we're going to want this to do that snaky thing, right? Where it connects to this here, right? Okay. This now is going to need to come over here. Right? And actually connect to here. So then it's going to be like 3 pipes, right? So let's get on that. And hopefully, in the interim, our plants are not dead. You know, that would be nice. So I think we're going to have to check that. And my power is running low. So, you know, I mean, sometimes you end up in this game, you end up running things by the skin of your teeth, right? So I picked up some more coal here too, because we're starting now to not be generating enough power for our consumption, right? So I'm just going to try to keep an eye on the battery, and when it's full, stop the coal, just to conserve some resources there. Okay, and so like this, that should be okay. Now remember, like in the last episode, we hooked up a back pressure generator here to feed gas out, excess pressure out of the base here back into our main filtration system, right? So we're going to need a frame, we're going to need a tank connector, and we're going to need a portable tank, right, for this CO2. follow the same setup here. So this is going to be feeding into input 1, right? So we're going to put our new gas mixer here. And it's kind of just as well that we have to do this because I forgot to put the passive vent coming off of this pipe network here, right? So because it's all feeding in there, we have like an awful lot of pressure built up in these pipes, right? Because we're not giving it anywhere to go out, right? So 14 MPa is not critical temperature, but it's pressure, but it's a lot, right? So our plants are currently growing, I think. They're not as healthy as we'd like them to be, right? So let's go ahead and print out this CO2 portable tank, right? And when that's done, we'll print out our let's grab that filter too. We'll print out our tank connector. Okay, so that's full, right? And the sun is up, so we can turn this off. If we ever get there, my God. Okay, right. So how much coal did we use? We used like half the coal, which is fine, right? So okay, let's stop this from printing things we don't want it to print. We need a tank connector, right? So there we go. Pop that into our bag. Tank connector is much quicker, so that's cool. And I'm not sure if we still have any frames. So let's just quickly use an iron frame here just to save some time, right? Okay, so that's our frame, and we need to use these iron sheets, right? Because that's how you use iron frames, with iron sheets. Yep. Okay, let's go ahead and weld. Again, it only needs to be one level because I'm not really worried about it being airtight. And we need now to put down our tank connector, which will connect here. Let's grab our tank. Let's see how this. Okay, it wants to. Oh, sometimes the way they misbehave. So it's telling us we can deconstruct it, right? So we need to pick it up again and kind of drop it. We need to drop it better. Deconstruct now. So this is what I meant before, right? About how they kind of misbehave. Connect, right? There we go. Okay. I think for CO2, we'll just leave that yellow. Actually, I think we'll no, let's not leave it yellow. Let's paint CO2 red because we're not going to be using, I don't think, any other gases here. So we have some emergency food here, some wheat. Which I think I'm going to start eating now. So I'm going to leave just 2. See, let's try and eat the ferns. Okay, we can eat the ferns, but they don't really, as you see, give you all that much, right? So let's just leave those there. And the pumpkin, we're not gonna touch, right? Because you only get 1 to start with, and so okay, let's start painting these. Just so that we can differentiate. I mean, if you want to, like, if you find it easier, you know, you could paint like dotted lines, or you know, I mean, it's entirely up to you guys, right? You know, we all play how we want to play, and okay. So the last thing we need to do is put the filter in here and connect it up to the power. We need our second gas mixer, which, do you know what? Fortunately, we by accident we printed one, so that's fortunate, right? So we don't need to make another one. So let's see. Okay, that should be fine. So we're going to need to connect both of those up. We're going to need to connect up those pipes and this filter here. So let's do some pipes. No, that's a tank connector. Let's do some pipes. And is there anything in here? Nope. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah. So I mean, like I say, right? This is probably going to be the last episode in this series. I plan to do kind of an inter-season tutorial series where I kind of go into more detail about some of the things that appear in this series. You know, I'm possibly, you know, like correct some things that I either, you know, explained wrong or you know didn't you know to my satisfaction explain well enough, you know, and there's some nuances to some things that I just kind of like to get out there, right? So you know, particularly when it comes to things like smelting with the furnace and solar panel automation, because there are better ways to do it than the setup we've used in this series. So yeah, that's something I would very much like to do, right? I think that's gonna be fine, right? So we have our CO2, our O2, our N2, and our water. And those plants are not growing, so this is becoming kind of an emergency now. All right, so let's build these cables, and for that we're going to need to empty this machine out, take the copper and the gold. I don't think we need that many cables, to be honest, but you know, but there it is. Okay, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, you know, the solar panels, they're kind of operating at, you know, an average of, I guess, about 80% efficiency. You know, for a base this small, that's perfectly fine. You know, if we added even like 1 or 2 more panels here, you know, we'd be fine. They're reasonably expensive, you know. So if you have like a flawless or a lossless setup, you know, then, you know, I guess for like every 4 you save on 1 panel with a setup like the one we have here. But you know, like I say, right, like that's going to be for the next series, where I'll kind of go into more detail, and as I say, right, I'll be doing kind of like more in-depth tutorials on these things, you know, where it's just a shorter video, you know, where it assumes that you already know what's going on, what you need, and I'll just kind of go through like how you build these things, right? So okay, it's already more complicated than I wanted it to be, right? So I mean that tells you, right? So okay, let's grab. It's not gonna let me build through there, is it? So okay, let's see. Can we build a corner there? No. Okay, so we're gonna have to kind of play around here. Alright, let's do it this way. Okay, there we go. Yep. Alright. Oh, I want 2 cables short, right? So isn't it ever the way? Yeah. Okay, so I mean you'll notice that I'm just checking on the plants, right, every now and again. So I'm gonna see if we can't kind of accumulate some CO2 in this waste tank too, and hopefully it'll be enough to kind of give us a kickstart, right? Okay, that's perfect. So that's on. That's filtering. So now we can go ahead and let the gas out of here. Let's just see what is in there for now, right? Okay, so it's perfect. We have some CO2 in there. So let's go in and turn on and configure this gas mixer. Also wanted to put a light in here somewhere, so we can do that. Let's cancel the pressurize. All right, so this input 1 is going to be from there, right? So this is input 2. So we want input 1 to be 99%, right? So remember, we hold down the C key to change with smaller increments, and that should be right. Okay, so like on the reverse of this this mixer, it should tell us input 2, right, is input 2, and just input is input 1, right? So input 2, yeah, okay. So that is configured. What's the temperature in here? Oh my goodness. So they're not going to be happy about this. So let's turn this on again. I might get rid of some of the radiators out there. I think that's kind of what is causing the problem here. So okay, let's open out our waste tank. Right. Let's open it. It's gonna depressurize to the ambient pressure, right? Now let's see. Okay, so we have now some CO2, but it's not going to be enough for our plants, right? So let's just hope now that the temperature will go up quick enough, because otherwise we are going to have big problems, right? I think we're going to go ahead now and also grab our pumpkin. We're going to risk planting that along with some of this corn and some of these, right? So we're kind of smart in that we left kind of a second try, right? A second attempt with the food. So let's go ahead and let out this gas and see everything in action, right? So yeah. Hopefully nothing bursts, right? But you'll see that there is gas coming out of here, which are things like the pollutants and other stuff that we don't want, right? you know, it's kind of a basic air filtration system for a basic base, right? Okay. Just wait here for this to get down to absolute 0. And then we're going to put in these volatiles. All of them, I think. Tell you what, we can probably get away with putting in these 5 oxide without exploding the thing here. Let's try that too. Right, you'll see, like I put 5 and 10, right? So that's going to get pretty hot, but it's not too much that there's going to be an explosion. You do have to be real careful about how much you put in. Right? Later on, I mean, in another series, we'll look at input, and kind of regulating. Once we have like a bunch of gas stored, right? Regulating how you can automate the furnace, and kind of do it remotely, so that you can have it in a vacuum chamber. Yeah, which is kind of groovy, right? Okay, well, so let's have a look now at how our gases are doing and what's going on in here, right? We should, if everything has gone according to plan, we should have some CO2 in here now. All right, so the temperature's back up, right? Where as the air comes in from there, the temperature is going back up. We'll just cancel the pressure. Okay, so the CO2, and now you see, right? They're not complaining. They're not wilting, right? They're just complaining that they don't have any sunlight. Because now we've put in some CO2, and slowly, once we kind of pressurize the base up to like 101 or 102 because of this back pressure generator. Oh, do you know what I have completely forgotten to do? That was really clever. I totally forgot to put in this. Passive vent. That was really clever, T. Okay. Well, in my defense, nobody's perfect, right? Okay. So we need for a passive vent. I think it's just iron. So we'll just grab wherever the iron is. Oh, it's over there. Okay. Build this passive vent here, and I think we're going to need to take out some of those radiators, because I think that's what is causing such a rapid temperature loss, right? So let's put these frames back in here, and turn this off. So let's fix this passive vent in here that we can do from outside, right? So that now should be releasing gas into the interior. Let's take out half of these, right? So we have, tell you what, let's do it like this, and then put one here in the middle. Because then it is that the middle? Really, is that the middle, T? Is that where the middle is? Okay, it's late, right? So okay, that should be slightly better. It should mean that the temperature doesn't go down so quick. And if we're still having problems, then we'll replace those pipes with the insulated pipes that I talked about earlier, right? Okay. All right. So you're seeing now the pressure has gone right up. You know, so we'll turn this one wall heater off. And we'll turn this other one off, right? So the pressure has gone right up now with putting this passive vent in here, right, which allows this gas to escape, right? So remember, right, we put nitrogen oxygen mix of 79 to 21 going through here, which feeds into another mixer, which then is mixed with CO2, which maintains the CO2 percentage at 1%. Unfortunately, we can't go into like decimals with this gas mixer, but you know, it's not an issue, right? If I open up my helmet, I'm just fine, right? I can breathe. It's not an issue. Okay, and now that we have, you know, just a little bit of CO2 in the atmosphere, these plants are just fine, right? So I guess what we're going to do here is plant some plants. Right, now the pumpkins take a long time to grow, but they you know, let's just say they're extremely nutritious. Right, let's grow some rice here. Now let's just put in. Tell you what, we already have some corn growing, so I think we're going to eat that. That's what we're going to do, and that well and truly is the end of our food. And like the corn doesn't really feed you that much, right? It's much better to use it in something we'll look at in another series, right? Where you can make like pies and cereal bars, and you know, all kinds of groovy things, right? You know, you use soy, for example, to make milk, right? You know, wheat, so on. So that's cool. And once we build like the organics printer, you can make like rice, and it's groovy, right? It's really groovy. Okay, so I think that's kind of it for this series. Really, I think we just need to put in maybe like a piece of storage here for our food, you know, and just generally like make it look nice with floor panels and, you know, covering the outside of the base, right? But yeah, so it's a shorter episode, you know, but I hope that if you've watched the whole thing, you know, you've enjoyed this series. You know, like I say, right? Like I'm no authority on the game. You know, there are people out there who I have seen, you know, give like detailed tutorials that are you know, impressive to say the least. And I'm just a guy who really likes this game and enjoys creating bases, right? So you know, if you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, go right ahead. I will be creating more content, you know, and if you've enjoyed everything, then I'm really happy. You know, that's why I made the videos, right? To share with the world. So yeah, that's a wrap, I guess, on on this Jamestown base series. You know, I guess I could, you know, I could go through how to make it look real pretty and blah blah blah, but you know, I'll leave that to you, right? So yeah, like, subscribe, and have a great day. And that's Little T out.